Zoe Kravitz may have found stardom on her own terms, but she never expected to be at the epicenter of one of Hollywood's most shocking breakups, her mother Lisa Bonet's divorce from Jason Momoa. For over a decade, Lisa and Jason captivated fans with an ethereal romance that seemed immune to typical celebrity pitfalls. Their deep-rooted affection, blended family dynamic, and easygoing charm set them apart in an industry often fueled by scandal and flashy headlines. Yet, as Zoe soon discovered, even the most picture-perfect relationship can harbor hidden turmoil, sometimes invisible even to those closest to it. Growing up, Zoe projected individuality and creative freedom, a natural result of being immersed in the artistry and bohemian spirit of her parents, rock icon Lenny Kravitz and actress Lisa Bonet, best known for her iconic role as Denise Huxtable on The Cosby Show. By her 20s, Zoe's name carried weight not only because of her famous lineage, but because of her own rising mark on film, fashion, and music. Through it all, she remained extremely close to Lisa, often confiding in her about everything from career decisions to personal struggles. That closeness was tested in 2005 when Jason Momoa entered Lisa's life. Zoe, just shy of adulthood, suddenly found herself sharing space with a larger-than-life figure. Jason, then a rising star with a commanding presence and easy humor, quickly bonded with Zoe and slipped naturally into a supportive role. Friends observed how seamlessly he created a nurturing environment for her and, later, for the two children he and Lisa welcomed, Lola Iolani Momoa in 2007 and Nicole Wolf Menakapo Namakia Momoa in 2008. From the outside, the family radiated harmony. Photos of Lisa, Jason, Zoe, Lola, and Nicole Wolf often surface on social media, drawing praise for their blended family goals, while interviews highlighted Jason's brotherly bond with Lenny Kravitz and the genuine warmth that seemed to flow among them all. Zoe quietly took it in, undoubtedly pleased to see her mother so fulfilled. Yet behind the scenes, subtle pressures began to build. Jason's career skyrocketed with Game of Thrones and later his blockbuster role as Aquaman in the DC Extended Universe, thrusting him into a whirlwind of global press tours, big-budget sets, and the high demands of being an action star. Lisa, by contrast, preferred a quieter life, grounded in her passions and her children. Even as Zoe's own career blossomed, she recognized how such an intense schedule could strain relationships. She had witnessed it before in Hollywood, and she knew her mother was not immune. Still, Zoe held on to optimism. She believed Lisa's spiritual grounding and fierce independence could steady the relationship, and at first, Jason seemed determined to prioritize family over fame. He often spoke about cherishing time at home and missing Lisa and the kids while away on set, and Zoe admired his devotion, reminding him to take breaks whenever possible. She carried with her Lisa's philosophy of following one's energy, a belief that happiness, health, and emotional well-being mattered far more than chasing every career opportunity. But cracks began appearing in ways no one outside the family circle could see. Jason's stardom demanded longer and longer absences, with movie sets in far-off locations causing him to miss birthdays, school events, and even family holidays. Lisa, though no stranger to fame herself, hadn't fully anticipated the magnitude of the blockbuster lifestyle. In Zoe's eyes, her mother tried to remain patient and supportive, but there were moments when Lisa confided in her that she felt sidelined or, worse, neglected. Zoe, juggling her own blossoming career, found herself in a precarious position, trying to reassure Lisa while also understanding Jason's perspective. She had grown to respect him and didn't want to see the man who had been so good to her siblings vilified for working hard. At the same time, rumors emerged, none substantiated, about Jason's rapport with certain co-stars. While tabloids thrived on speculating about on-set romances, Zoe initially dismissed the chatter. Having grown up under the spotlight of her parents' reputations, and having endured her own share of outlandish press, she learned long ago to take such gossip with a grain of salt. But when Lisa began questioning the authenticity of Jason's denials, Zoe realized the swirling talk was affecting her mother on a deeper, more personal level. It wasn't necessarily about believing or disbelieving the gossip. It was about trust, emotional security, and the growing sense that Jason's priorities were shifting away from home. Still, no one truly expected a public breakup, least of all Zoe. When Jason and Lisa announced their separation in early 2022 with a joint statement on social media, it sent shockwaves not only through their fans but across the entire entertainment industry. The statement spoke of seismic shifts in transformational times, language both poetic and opaque. Privately, Zoe was torn between sadness for her mother and loyalty to Jason, whom she still considered a significant figure in her life. She also worried about her younger siblings, who had been accustomed to both parents under one roof, co-creating the warm family vibe often celebrated on Instagram. Almost immediately, speculation ran rampant. Some insisted Lisa was tired of Jason's hectic schedule, calling him a workaholic who prioritized career over family. Others pointed fingers at Lisa, claiming she was controlling or unsupportive of his ambitions. The truth, of course, was more complex. From what insiders suggest, Zoe understood that a marriage wasn't undone by a single betrayal but by a slow, compounding sense of distance, both emotional and physical. Many wanted a scandal or dramatic revelation, but the reality was simply two people who loved each other yet were being pulled in vastly different directions. During this period, Zoe's role was multifaceted. As the adult child of divorce, her parents Lisa and Lenny had split years earlier. She was acutely aware of how breakups ripple through entire families. She tried to comfort her younger siblings, reassuring them that their father still loved them deeply even if he no longer lived at home. At the same time, she became a confidant for Lisa, listening to frustrations that her mother rarely shared with the public. Insiders claimed Zoe felt immense pressure, afraid that any advice she gave might unintentionally widen the rift or make it seem like she was taking sides. In interviews, Zoe carefully avoided direct answers about her mother and Jason, instead expressing love for both, praising Lisa's individuality and Jason's big heart. Yet fans reading between the lines noticed a certain hesitancy, as though Zoe was unwilling to reveal what was truly happening behind closed doors. Some saw it as caution, others as evidence of deeper turmoil the family didn't want exposed. While the public statement about the divorce was polite, amicable, and even hopeful, later developments hinted at tensions that ran deeper than anyone had first imagined. At behind-the-scenes conflicts allegedly arose as Jason felt Lisa hadn't fully supported his Hollywood climb, resenting her for not traveling with him or actively participating in the star-studded lifestyle. Lisa, for her part, felt that the man she married had morphed into someone she no longer recognized, overshadowed by red carpets, exotic filming locations, and the frenzy that comes with blockbuster success. Zoe, caught in the middle, tried to remain neutral. It wasn't that she disagreed with her mother's perspective, but she also saw firsthand how hard Jason worked for his successes, remembering him from years before he became a household name. Naturally, fans began to wonder, did Zoe see the split coming? According to rumors, she wasn't entirely blindsided. She had sensed tension for some time, but, like many close to the couple, held out hope they'd find a workable solution. After all, Lisa and Jason had navigated challenges before, ranging from pregnancy announcements to major career transitions, and each time they managed to circle back to a mutual respect that seemed unbreakable. Even so, love doesn't always survive endless conflict, and sometimes even the strongest ties loosen. Zoe recognized the heartbreak that ensues when two people realize they can't get back to what they once were. The initial months after the announcement were hushed, as Jason and Lisa largely avoided public spats, focusing on co-parenting. They released gentle, almost philosophical statements about growth and transformation, leaning heavily on the introspective language that both had long embraced. Despite ongoing speculation, there were no tabloid photo ops of explosive confrontations or messy custody battles. If anything, they seemed united in protecting Lola and Nicole Wool from the typical media-feeding frenzy that devours many celebrity splits. Zoe also kept her thoughts about the divorce guarded, granting interviews about her acting and style, but steering clear of personal drama. Still, cracks emerged in the veneer. Rumors circulated that Lisa was struggling behind closed doors, that the emotional toll of the separation left her reevaluating not just her relationship with Jason, but her entire life trajectory. While she'd always struck people as a calm, introspective soul, the shift in her marriage forced her to confront how deeply she had relied on that partnership. Insiders whispered that Zoe was one of her strongest pillars of support during this time, offering encouragement and gently reminding her mother that rediscovering independence could be empowering, not merely frightening. Viewers might wonder if Zoe felt any resentment toward Jason. Sources close to the family say she maintained a genuine fondness for him. After all, he had welcomed her as part of a larger family tapestry, treating her not as a burdensome stepdaughter but as a full-fledged member of the household. He cheered on her successes, from her band Lola Wolf to her roles in films like Mad Max, Fury Road, and The Batman. Even so, Zoe reportedly struggled to reconcile the Jason she knew, devoted, loving, and warm, with a Jason who seemed increasingly absent due to film shoots and possibly enthralled by the glamour of stardom. Another layer in the story was Lenny Kravitz, Zoe's father, and Lisa's ex. Lenny and Jason publicly formed a famously brotherly bond, exchanging playful jabs on social media and showing mutual admiration that everyone found refreshing. Some fans romanticize this as a pinnacle of modern families, where exes got along brilliantly, children thrived, and new partners integrated seamlessly. Yet beneath that shining example of cooperation, there were murmurs of tension. Jason privately felt uneasy about the closeness between Lisa and her ex-Lisa. For her part, valued Lenny's presence and considered him family, an arrangement that apparently never sat entirely well with Jason. Zoe, who cherished both her father and Jason, became a mediator in small but meaningful ways, quietly smoothing out friction whenever possible. As one insider put it, Zoe's been doing this her entire life, playing peacemaker is second nature. But no amount of peacemaking can fully resolve incompatibilities that strike at the heart of a marriage. By the time the divorce proceedings truly ramped up, the fractures were too deep to mend. By 2024, Lisa and Jason had already carved out separate lives. Lisa retreated further into her private world, focusing on writing, photography, and spiritual introspection, while Jason embraced film and television projects that took him around the globe, forging new networks and exploring philanthropic efforts aimed at ocean conservation. The quiet settlement they reached, opting out of messy public legal battles, caught some by surprise, especially those accustomed to drama-laden Hollywood splits. Yet the outward calm may have masked a great deal of latent hurt and emotional exhaustion. Meanwhile, Zoe was juggling her own responsibilities. Her star had risen considerably. She had landed major acting roles, produced projects, and even directed. In interviews, she exuded confidence and clarity of purpose, qualities she attributed to both her mother and father, each icons in their own right. Still, behind that poise, she frequently worried about the emotional well-being of her half-siblings, Lola and Nicole Wolf, who were still young enough to be deeply affected by the changes at home. Reports suggest that Zoe stepped up, ensuring she was present for them, FaceTiming regularly, inviting them to her sets, or spending weekends with them to provide stability. What fascinated fans most was how quietly Lisa and Jason managed to keep many of the most painful details. Unlike divorces mired in public revelations of wrongdoing or financial disputes, this one appeared, at least outwardly, to be a mutual decision to part ways. From Zoe's perspective, it was a result of irreconcilable life paths. Jason wanted to chase global stardom at full speed, while Lisa desired a more reflective, grounded existence. They bridged that gap for years, but eventually the separation widened until it felt unbridgeable. Despite the heartbreak, Lisa and Jason maintained a commitment to co-parenting even post-divorce. They made efforts to be seen together at significant events for the kids, which some fans took as proof their amicable front was genuine, while others suspected simmering tension softened only by the presence of their children and shared loved ones, particularly Zoe, who had her own vested interest in keeping the family functional. In a rare candid moment, Zoe hinted that sometimes love changes shape but never truly disappears, an observation many interpreted as a reflection on the bond Jason and Lisa still shared. One frequent question posed online was whether Zoe ever took sides. It's a complicated notion, especially for adult children of divorce who love both parents. From all indications, Zoe refused to view the breakup as an us versus them scenario. She supported Lisa's journey to reclaim her personal happiness, praising her mother's decision to stand firm in her convictions and not lose herself in someone else's ambitions. Equally, she never publicly shamed Jason or questioned the authenticity of his feelings for her mother. On social media, she still occasionally liked or commented on Jason's post about environmental causes or behind-the-scenes glimpses from his film sets. She even shared a photo or two with him at family gatherings for Lola and Nicole Wolf, reminding fans that their family ties were not severed beyond repair. As for the rumored darker side of the divorce, allegations of arguments, frustrations over Lenny's continued presence in Lisa's life, or possible emotional manipulation, Zoe has not addressed them directly. Close friends say she is skilled at compartmentalizing, an essential trait for surviving the glare of paparazzi and the rumor mill. She has confided to a few that the reality is less dramatic than tabloids want to believe, but also more painful than the public might realize. Two truths can coexist, she reportedly told a friend. There can be no monstrous wrongdoing, yet still be enough hurt to break something that once felt unbreakable. Ultimately, Zoe's stance is that this chapter is about growth for everyone. She has watched her mother transform under adversity, discovering new passions and reconnecting with old ones. She has seen Jason stretch himself career-wise, exploring philanthropic pursuits aligned with his deep love for nature, water, and native Hawaiian culture. She also recognizes that heartbreak can be a catalyst for change, forcing people to reevaluate their priorities and consider what truly matters. In many ways, the divorce, while painful, may have been a necessary step for both Lisa and Jason to continue evolving on paths better suited to their individual needs. From her unique vantage point as a star in her own right, Zoe remains a fascinating figure in the story, someone with intimate knowledge who also stands somewhat apart, bridging her mother's world, her father Lenny's, and Jason's new trajectory. She has never publicly condemned or praised the divorce, likely recognizing that both her mother and Jason hold perspectives that are valid in their own ways. Instead, she has chosen a gracious neutrality, respecting the deep love that once existed, supporting the reality that it's over, and focusing on keeping her siblings and mother emotionally supported. Zoe's role reminds us of the nuanced realities of modern families. Many can relate to the challenge of mediating between parents, siblings, or step-parents, even without the glare of paparazzi. Would you, like Zoe, strive to remain neutral, or would you pick a side to defend a loved one who might feel wronged? The truth is, no matter how picture-perfect a relationship may appear from the outside, internal challenges can build until there's no turning back. Sometimes it's a catastrophic event, an affair, a betrayal, or a moment of deep disrespect. Other times it's a slow burn of shifting goals and unspoken resentments. Either way, the result is heartbreak, yet heartbreak can also spark new beginnings. For Lisa, that's meant diving deeper into personal projects and shielding her younger children from Hollywood chaos. For Jason, it's become a test of whether he can balance fame with authenticity, remaining the free-spirited, family-oriented man he's always claimed to be. And for Zoe, it's a testament to her resilience. Having grown up amid one high-profile split, her mother's with Lenny Kravitz, and now witnessing another, she's emerged with wisdom beyond her years. She continues to forge her own career in film and music while maintaining meaningful relationships with each parent figure in her life, showing a grace that resonates with fans navigating their own complex family dynamics. That doesn't mean her journey has been without struggle. Reports suggest she sometimes wrestles with guilt, questioning whether she could have helped her parents see each other's perspectives, or whether her encouragement toward Jason's career ambitions inadvertently pulled him further from home. Yet life rarely offers clear answers. Families are messy, love shifts shape, and even amicable divorces carry regrets. Still, the future remains open. Jason is devoted to his children, Lisa is charting her own independent course, and Zoe holds a vantage point that allows her to love them all, reminding them that family bonds endure even when romance fades. Perhaps one day, fans will see them together again at milestone for Lola and Nicole Wolf, with Zoe in the middle, smiling and supporting them all. The takeaway from this story is that real life doesn't fit neatly into the arcs we crave. Love stories don't always last forever, and even the strongest families must navigate heartbreak. Yet, over time, new balances are found, wounds begin to heal, and stepping apart can sometimes be the very thing that allows everyone to grow into who they were meant to be.